Trying to work on this a little bit more, just tweaking it. Pretty silly looking. It's making some good progress. I got the eyes a little bit more what I consider to be convincing. I just want to make sure that they are the same as far as excuse me, I gotta just set this up right, get this out of here. Here's my palette going. I got a lot going on here. Trying using this special palette. It's called the Stay Wet palette by Masterson, and it's like super great for keeping. Look at this. This paint has been in here for days. It has like a seal tight lid on top too, but yeah, I'm really sold on these palettes. I'm gonna get one or two more of these because they just they just are so nice. I mean, and plus you can spread out the color a little more when you have um, bigger palettes. There's some that are bigger. Like this one's only like 8.5 inches wide by about 7. There's bigger ones, but I think this is the one you want to. This is the smallest one because then you can have two different sets of color. Like say you have different like warm tones or blues or warms and cools. I like to separate really bright colors because what happens a lot of times is especially with bright colors, that can get kind of muddy and you end up with a big problem. Using some of this Blick white. It's really good to have a good white that just really holds up. And I have some other stuff that's cheaper. Here's a economy white. Which sometimes this is nice to work with too. It just depends on what you're doing. Because the economy white, for me, is like a lot lower viscosity, which, in some cases, you need a lower viscosity white. So the Dick Blick is like this super thick. The studio acrylic. But it's good if you can to try and go down. Sorry, I gotta take this back down. I'm sitting down here right now. Try and go in and taking out some obvious things that are. Yeah, this didn't work out here. It's kind of a crappy brown. I'm gonna go in and fix some obvious errors. Because you can get into kind of all these little details, and sometimes it really doesn't help it much. And this brown, you gotta be really careful with brown because it's kind of it's kind of like crap brown. It just looks kind of, I don't know the right word for it, but I just don't like using a lot of brown. It's great for toning down things like when your blues are really too much. You want to try and use some brown to kind of tone it down, make it more gray. And a lot of people really blow it with their. And kind of look at these eyes really carefully, because the eyes can really make a painting. So whatever is on one side, I kind of want to copy to the other side. And yeah, the eyes look a little bit, it's real easy to lose it. So how's everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. Someone commented, just thing with painting, you just take a big deep breath, don't stress out about anything. Just kind of have fun with it. And once it's really good to paint what you see, have good photos to work from or something live. You can't really do that with a dog, but just try and, after you get to that point, you just kind of want to make a painting too, like try and make it fun and make it read well. Like, okay, this is his hair. Like, so I want the brush to kind of match kind of a curly hair look that a dog would have. Boy, I'm really gonna have to start recording some my music. Like, I do play guitar, and so hopefully have some guitar music coming up in the near future episodes here. I'm gonna have running in the background. I have some looping pedals and so the eyes are going to be just like little pools of water. So I want to try and somehow capture that. And one thing I want to try and do, if I got some paint loaded up on the brush, I want to try and get it out there and, look around and see where I could maybe use the same color. And, it's for a couple reasons to do that. One is, you're just end up wasting a lot of paint and time. And the other is that it's harder to match a color once you putting it down, even if it's just a real minor thing. It's just easier to do it and then, maybe have a few brushes going at the same time. So I just kind of want to add a little detail to this to kind of make it really pop, make it look like a finished painting. Because a lot of times we can have a piece that doesn't quite look finished. And if you would have just taken another 5 or 10% more, you can really make it pop, make it into something really that has a lot of character. Thing is with eyes too is and with um, things in general, if it's a light colored dog, it looks a lot better because you have light against dark. You have these dark eyes and nose, and if you have a real dark face, it's hard to see the eyes. Um, it's good to um, have just light against dark, and so you look at even just basically like a dog like Snoopy from Peanuts, just a white dog with um, dark, simple dark eyes, and that worked. Pretty fun piece. It's nice when you can make it somewhat realistic because it kind of adds to the I don't know the right word for it, but the humor. You want to avoid, like here I have this flat color in here. So I want to avoid it being flat. Hang on, I gotta adjust my lighting a little bit. Actually, I might have to put up a different. Hang on a second here. The sun just came out. How's that going? How's everybody doing? The dog is going to be saying, "What's up, everyone?" Yeah, using acrylic, and this is the Stay Wet palette, which I highly recommend. This Masterson's Stay Wet Handy palette. This is a cover for this right here, and it keeps the paint like unbelievably. Like this paint has been in here for 3 days, and I accidentally spilled. But see this, I know this looks terrible, but I need to get like about 3 of these, so I keep my colors separated. I have another one, but I am missing part. So anyway, they're really nice to have. And this is a nice size, the 8.5 inches wide. It's the cheapest one they make. I think they have a bigger one, but I personally I think the smaller one's nice, but just have 2 of them, so that way you can have a different color or different colors in certain ones, or one for more for like spreading the color out. And got these new brushes on Amazon. They're pretty nice. They have these special handles, which actually is, I don't know. But the thing that's nice is, it's a nice gimmick, but is what kind of tip does it hold? Does it hold the brush? Is it holding a good tip? And this, I can safely say, is holding the tip really nicely. So I'm kind of looking around on this And I'm going to have to use this over here. Something I need to fix is this unbelievable how well this palette is holding up. I'll show you this real quick. This is kind of magic. Is when I'm trying to mix a color for this background that goes well. I'm using some red and I have some yellow. This is unbelievable. This yellow is still not dry. I gotta be careful in here because I don't want it to get muddy. See, now I can go in here and fix this. I'm gonna have to sit back down. I'm not very good at standing while I'm talking and painting. Excuse me. Get this color going. Might as well try and do something here. I kind of want to make it, to avoid um, looking like an illustration. I want it to have some brushwork in it, so it doesn't just look like a photograph. It looks like a painting. So a lot of artists will use kind of this cross hatching a little bit, kind of helps it. See, I didn't soup up enough color. This is my bad here. Unbelievable, his color is holding up this long. So anyway, I'm putting a little yellow, using the color wheel here, with a little bit of orange. And we get like a nice peachy background color. See, if it's too red, it looks like a light pink. And I want to avoid it being too yellow too, though. And if it gets a little bit muddy, what I mean by that is the color gets brownish because we've mixed in like blue's gotten in here, contaminated, or brown. In some ways, it can work. A little bit too yellow. Sorry, not yellow, but too much white. So I'll just try and go around a little bit and give it a little bit of brush work that looks like it belongs. Ideally, I want to have this all done so that way when I go in to paint the foreground, well, you can add hair or whatever edges onto that, and then you won't have this rough edge. You'll have a nice clean edge. But sometimes you can't always get what you want, and I'll still be able to come back in later and add a little line onto this to make the line really tight. Yeah, this one teacher. It's funny. Yeah, this one illustration teacher in college was a professional illustrator, and that's one thing I got from him is make your lines tight. around the edge. And so you have this nice light line work. Like, see this right here, this is not good. I want to fix these edges so that, yeah, see, it's easy to miss this stuff. But if you go in to have your stuff, if you're, like an illustrator and you're putting your stuff in magazines, the print a lot of times will not flatter the painting. It'll just make everything, because of the way the porousness of the paper, if it's not a very porous paper, I have an example. I'll bring it up if I can find. Sometimes I can, get away with using the same color down below here somewhere. So how's everybody doing today? You guys doing good? Feel free to make comments. Nice comments, hopefully. It's really nice is when you can just really make something really, really, work well. Like, I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again. I'm not to give my top 10 list of things to do as a painter, but one of them I think would be the top 10 is, when you make your signature really quickly and how sloppy it is. But then if you take your time and you sign your name with nice, you think about it and you do it really well. Think about doing that with your painting where you're just taking your time with it. So what would be my top 10 list off the top of my head for painters? Okay, yeah, that would be one. That's my original. I don't know if anyone else has said that before, but there's a thing called original thought, like something you thought of and someone else thought of, and that's just life, There's no copyright infringement. If it's something you just thought of yourself, and then later you saw someone else talking about it. Anyway, let's see, what would be in the top 10 list of things to do as a painter? I'd say just one would be just someone commented to me, I'm kind of like Bob Ross. There. Like, yeah, I used to be kind of jealous of the guy because he had like he'd draw these. To me, they were just like butt ugly paintings. Excuse my language, but he just, oh man, I just hated his art. But just his relaxed. The thing that won people over was just so much more relaxed. There was a guy before him. This German guy's like, okay, now we use a like he was really kind of stark. And Bob Ross came along and he was just so relaxed. He was just like, okay, good. Just a little bit right there. Good. So you just, yeah, yeah, good. Oh, he's turning out pretty handsome there. See, I want to make sure my eyes match each other too. Like, so you got one eye is a little bit smaller than the other eye. So I'm going to try and fix that. Then I'm going to go back in again with some darker colors. And that's where it's okay to have extra brushes laying around. Like, you use this brush for doing things like the hair. And then get another brush. See, that's one of the things that's beautiful about acrylics. Kind of slowly, like especially with this palette, I've changed my mind about acrylics because you can just really they dry so quick. It's just real easy to go over things. Excuse me. Yeah, just trying to do too many things at once here. So anyway, I want to use a little bit of black, but I like using. You can use black. You can kind of make a black with um, brown and burnt and I'm sorry, excuse me, French ultramarine blue. It's kind of like a dark brown or Payne's gray or a dark gray. It's not quite black. Of course, this is. Let's see here. That's not quite. Let's see here. A little bit too warm. I want like a. It's funny to hear people talk about warm gray and cool gray, but it's really true. You have a little bit too much paint souped up here. This is where the magic happens a lot of times, is right on your palette. So just kind of get a little bit of this off of here. Come in here. Yeah, I don't know if I like this brush so much. You know why I don't like this brush? Yeah, I got this new set here from Amazon. So let's just try a couple of these out. You can get the other brush. It's just a cheap set I got off of for um, doing. Yeah, this is a nicer. You can feel that there's some stiffness in the brush. It's not just all over the place. Like it holds a point. I thought maybe it was going to be like a kind of like gimmick thing, but it looks like they took their time and actually put a really good um, point on it. So the other brush was just some cheap set I had. I ended up going through a lot of brushes, so okay, like I said, I want to make sure these two eyes kind of match each other. A little bit of water on here. Get a little bit too dry, not workable. Dip your brush in water. Make sure I get up on this. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera. I'm just hoping, if it doesn't work right, you just go back in and add some more color, add some more, um, keep working it. One thing it helps, okay, top 10 list is, I would say make it kind of like 3D, like don't have it just flat color. But try and show the shape of, an eyelid. It's not flat, it's everywhere on here it's not flat, it's kind of funny. Dogs, they I saw this one dog recently, and it did kind of remind me of a human. Just had this like human, like a shy person, like a so kind of want to sit back for a minute and see, where does my eye go to get this darker color on for a second. Go around on I mentioned this before. You know what? I'm going to do something just for a second here. I'm going to get a piece of paper and start writing out some things just so people remember what I'm talking about. That is again, I'll be right there. I'm just grabbing some pens. I want to make sure I get this written in there right. Okay. Can we see this? All right. So, I'm just going to set this here for just a second. Main thing is one, take your time and like signing your name. See, even this, like, see, I'm left-handed, so sometimes I feel like my signature is awkward. So sometimes I'll sign my name just like super quick, and that's, a lot of times, I'm not even going to do it a good way, but sometimes we can just get in that mode with painting. So you want to just be very deliberate 2 would be paint. This might sound really stupid, but what you see. And this would be, yeah, and I guess what you see, like really observe. There's some exercises we used to do where we'd have to draw someone and you have a page like this where you can't look. You have to kind of just look at the person. And that can really help build that kind of thing where you're really observing what you see. It sounds pain what you see, but there's no way to say that differently. Composition. You want design where it's you have for me, if it it can go outside of this grid, but foreground, middle ground, and background. If your composition is really good, I've talked to other artists that say that, yeah, if the composition's really nice, like it's not like just like a dead end, like you can look off into space, that it's just makes up for a lot for your uh, lack of painting skill. And I would say light against, there you go again, dark, and so you want the eyes. I had them darker, but I wanted to be able to see the eyes a lot clearer. So I had to lighten up around the outside. And you see that a lot of things where so you have this dark line against this light background, dark against light, and then let's see here, 5 would be tangents. So it's tangent police, where you're looking to see, like I didn't have any pictures, make sure they're far enough away from your main subject so there's no tangents that are distracting you from the image. Tangent police. And then the other one I would say is warm. We have light against dark. We also have warm against cool. Like a lot of times we have a warm light, the shadow would look cooler. Warm against cool. So it makes it vibrate. Someone explained it to me once. Like looking at popcorn ceiling, if you look at where the light hits it, it's warmer, and then shadow, it's cooler. And if you look at it long enough, it kind of can vibrate, but you have to really look at it for a while. But it makes a painting a lot more vibrant when you have warm against cool. Strong light source. Where you have, like, a lot of photographers, it's like the morning sun or the evening sun, it's like the golden hour, where you can really see, like, say, a tree, you have this beautiful shade, on one side, and you have dark on one side, and then the sun is kind of breaking through, like over a mountain or something. But that you have a strong light source really is powerful, because then you have a shadow. A lot of portrait artists use it. Rembrandt was known for his really strong light source coming through a window, where one of the cheeks would be kind of partially lit, like a Rembrandt lighting. And I'll get my top 10 here. Oh, avoid spottiness. Spot, I don't even know how to spell it. Spottiness. I don't know how to spell this, but anyway, spot. So it's not all spotty. You want to have um, your main focal point, your eye point is busy, but the surrounding painting is more flat, less busy. Like you take a look at a painting, if you set it down for a while, and you kind of look and see where does your eye go on the painting. You know, I want it to be on this guy right here. I don't want it to be on a bunch of stuff in the background. So that will be more flat. And it's popularly used in animation, where they would have these kind of grayish, kind of lighter backgrounds, and then you have your animation in the foreground, character in black. So try that out. We're almost, let's see here. I would say storytelling, or just thoughtful landscape, a thoughtful piece somehow, where it's just it's just something that's really beautiful. Somehow the story comes through, the beauty. I saw a bunch of Monets recently, not real recently, but at the downtown Seattle Art Museum, and just really stunning pieces. But it didn't really have a story to it, but boy, it just kind of told a story with just the quality, and it was so kind of moving, but I don't know how to describe it exactly. Anyway, I'm going to pull this out and relook at this. I heard someone recently tell me, his name was Sean Cannell. He's from Think Media. He says a lot of times you have like 4 or 5 main ideas in your story. You want to get across to your people. Like he's always says, just press record. Like he's constantly talking to people about, developing their YouTube. And he has just, a lot of times he's repeating things over and over again, which is okay. But it's okay to do that. So anyway, I want to get a little bit of, I got white on here. I have this other stuff. It's called a retarder. It kind of keeps the paint from drying too quick, but also it's like almost like a medium. There's some of this other stuff here too. So it's a medium. It kind of helps keep the paint kind of thick and fluid. I don't know the right word for it. I'm going to set some of this over here. Like I said, I really need, like, I'm going to probably go buy one today, but these Stay Wet palettes to kind of, so I have like at least one more, but probably another one for different colors when you're doing like different tones for like yeah, like background big tones areas. I need to redo this part right here. Let's just stop talking about it and start doing it. And so go up here, take this. Can you see that okay? Here, let's pull this over for a minute. So I just kind of want to start fixing little things that might bother me. And part of it is this, oops, excuse me, this right down here. And one thing I wanted to do keep in mind is, you know, if it's a piece that I'm trying to resell, I have to keep track of my time. Like, if it's a piece I want to sell for like $200, say, just for example, like how much time do I want to spend on that painting? I'm just trying to be practical here. Like, you don't want to sell a painting for $200 that you spent like, you know, 200 hours on, or you're going to make a dollar an hour. So I kind of want to just be conscious of the time a little bit. You know, you want to be able to do what you love, but keep an eye. You know, the thing is killing everybody now on YouTube, and I hope you guys can like and subscribe, is these faceless channels. Just saw one last night, and the guy's just doing it on automatic. It's on AI, and it's going to totally ruin YouTube, because all of a sudden you're competing with AI producing all these videos. But, you know, okay, so one thing about selling art, though, too, is, you, you know, okay, so I just cleaned that up a lot, just in the one little deal there, uh, going through that, is making prints has made it so it's more viable for artists to sell their work. And so if you have a painting, say even if you just for example, I said 200 hours into it, and you sold it for $200. Well, what if you yeah, see this color is a little bit too right. I almost want to do something with this, like make it like a dog bone. Boy, I'm really gonna, yeah, have to start recording music, kind of fill in. Hope you guys can bear with a lot of the silence here. See, I'm just looking for little spots where I can just kind of highlight things. That was a little bit too much. My favorite parts of a painting is when you can highlight things, like make it really pop. And really kind of adds to that 3D kind of look. Yeah, you're really singing. Just one thing I would do want to say is, yeah, see, I need to finish. I got that one going, but I need to work on this some more. Just kind of finish it off a little more. And I have this other one here. It's kind of like an Elvis dog. I don't know. I was just kind of playing around with it. It's okay. Um, I have this other piece I'm working on. It's called, let's get this, it's called All in a Day's Work. I have this other one I've been kind of monkeying with. It's a cat. He's doing cool cat stories. And I think I use gouache on this. But thinking I maybe be able to use acrylic. And I have this other beautiful piece I want to work on a little bit. And big fat cat. He's scratching the record like he's a DJ. and some cat music. Staying up all night. Cats are kind of ravers, right? They stay up late and trash the house. So yeah, I have to keep that in mind, that I have a lot of work to get done. So, I can't get bogged down with one piece. It's kind of funny, Monet in his art studio, he had his paintings all over the place. I heard Monet won some kind of lottery, and so he was able to make a lot of money, and then he was able to, like, man, this guy did pretty well, He had this beautiful house. He built a Japanese garden, and I don't know. I'll have to look up all the details on it, but yeah, I guess he won some kind of lottery. I just heard that recently. I say, well, okay. But he had a lot of paintings in his studio that were kind of unfinished. See, so what I just did there is I kind of just cleaned that little. I wanted to read well. That like here's an eyelid. Who doesn't like a scruffy dog? I mean, come on. Where's my darker brush? Throw that away. Life is short, man. It's so easy to try and use like cheap equipment, and you just have to say, you know what? Sometimes you have to spend a few bucks, try things out different. Life is short. Just looking at some different cameras today, and for making videos, and some that really stand out for different reasons. Feel free to, like, if you really are doing a detailed spot, sometimes you can turn a painting over and see what's wrong. Like, see these two eyes, this one's still a little bit bigger than this one. So I'm either going to have to make this one a little wider. It's not much, just a hair. Most people aren't going to notice this, but if you're the artist, you're going to notice it. It's a good thing to do with the eyes. You can see if they match. Like I'm seeing this other thing that doesn't match. A lot of times eyes don't match as far as the thing around them, but the eyelid and everything else. But the eyeball themselves usually you want to have. Somehow, if I can add a little exaggeration in here that lends to what's already here, I'm going to try and do that. And that would almost be like something I'd add on to my list is just go with it. Like where's my pen here? I almost would say contrast. So yeah, that add artistic flair to make it read well. Like contrast. It's kind of like even like in music, uh, you want, most of your hits have a lot of contrast in the music. I don't know why that popped in my head. And My Sharona. It has a good contrast. There's variety. So it's the same thing with a painting. You want to have good contrast and, kind of add your own little artistic flair to a piece. And that applies to so many things. I mean, acting, like I met this actor and we were talking. I gave him a line for a script I wrote, and he acted it out, and he just nailed it. It made me laugh out loud so hard. But yeah, an actor knows how to add on a little bit of artistic flair to uh, things, and um, same thing with music. Like a guy had a little something, like Jimi Hendrix was so good at adding a little, like he'd take a song like a Bob Dylan song and he would add this little artistic flair to it that just made it pop. So it's one thing I want to do, and this is make sure I add a little artistic flair to it, make it so it's just popping. One thing I would say, since it is kind of a cartoonish piece, like, see, I want to add a little bit of, like I said, dark against light, so I'll add a little bit of darkness here, like it's in the right spots. Gonna try to make it a little scruffy dog. Let's see, I got that paper towel. See, and that's where it can help to like, you want to get that tight line in the certain spots. You want to have a delicate touch where you can turn it upside down piece. Oh, darn it. And sometimes you have to just, realize, you know what? I'm gonna have to set this aside for a little while and work on something else for a bit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break here, just real quick, and then come back. And so, if you want to like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I need more watch hours. Trying to work my way up to the 4,000 watch hours. So catch you on the next video. Thanks for stopping by.